A shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, call Halayim Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatab Yahweh Allah coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I just got a quick, lesson based off this video I seen here today called Shut Up and Eat Your GMOs by the Corbett Report. And I got it queued up. I'm going to play a couple minutes of this video. But, it just highlights that, this place is polluted. And why is it polluted? Job 9:24. It's given into the hand of the wicked. And who is the wicked? Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white man. With that power that he's been given, he's polluting these things, and he actually has an agenda, to reduce the population, and primarily, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true Israelites of the Bible. And I'm gonna start with this verse, and like I said, I'll play a couple minutes of this, and we're gonna see that Esau can't be trusted, man. But this is real quick, Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And this is what you have to keep in mind. Esau has this deep-seated hatred going back to his forefather. And Esau today, Edom today is the so-called white man. So all these ones, and primarily we're talking about the ones who are in control, the elites, the ones who own these corporations, who are able to put the money and the research into making these things, But he has this deep-seated hatred, and it shows through the things he creates, But like I said, I'm gonna play a couple minutes of this. It's only like 2 minutes. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, and then I'll grab some more.
Engineered crops. One of the first scientific tests of the effects of GM foods on mammals was conducted by
And when he says GM, it's genetically modified.
Dr. Arpad Pustai. Dr. Pustai was commissioned by the Scottish Office of the UK government to examine the effects of feeding rats with GM food for 100 days. The shocking results of that study indicated that the GM-fed rats had depleted immune systems, damaged internal organs, and stunted growth.
So this first experiment, this man did, it shows that it messed up immune systems, the organs, stunted growth, and Esau knows these things. But watch what happens.
These results were shocking, perhaps horrifying for those who saw them, and the backlash from those financially connected to the biotechnology industry was swift. Dr. Pustai was quickly retired from his position, and despite independent peer review which has since vindicated his original research, he was at the time tarred and feathered for reporting on the results of his experiment with...
See, so this is the power that these elites have. Now, whether you come out with studies not showing exactly what this stuff does, if it's not according to Esau's agenda, you're going to be what? You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be, like he said here, tarred and feathered. You're going to lose your so-called credibility, your tenure. And these studies came out, and it shows exactly what this genetically modified food does to the bodies.
With alarm. More shocking experimental evidence of the potential hazards of GM foods were presented by Dr. Irina Ermakova of Moscow to the Russian Academy of Sciences in 2005. Her study of feeding GM soy flour to female rats showed alarming results indeed. In her study, the female rats who had been fed the GM soy flour died at an alarming rate. 55.6% of those rats born to the females who were fed GM soy flour died during the experiment, whereas 6.8% of the control group died, meaning that the offspring of these GM-fed rats died at a rate almost 10 times that of the control group. These shocking experimental results show that there are significant scientific questions about the safety of genetically modifying our food crops. But let's take a step.
All right, that's it on that. But as you can see, these experiments done, it shows you that it's actually hurting the people, And there's no question about it, and Esau knows these things. That's why he pushes it out. And this is how of a corrupt, wicked ruler he is because not only is this fed to Jake, which is his primary target, but it's also fed to his own people. That's how evil this man is. But this is Sirach 12 and 10. And it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Now, we're in captivity. We have to go to this man for certain things, like the scripture says, and he's in control. He makes the food, Now, we understand we're only here by the grace of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. We're here to fulfill a purpose, and the beautiful thing about it is we're almost out of here. We're almost at the end of this man's, we are at the end of this man's rulership, But with that with that being said, it says, never trust thine enemy. So seeing what he puts in the food, seeing how it affects people, and like I said, this was just experiments. You could go look those up for yourself. But hey, that pretty much they do these experiments on the rats, on the animals, because it showcases what it will actually do to humans. It just takes a little bit longer in humans sometimes. But seeing what he puts in the food, why would you trust him with anything else that's going on? And I want to be wise with my words, but specifically, the juice. I'll just say that the juice that he puts, and what else is he gonna implement? The charagma, These things are set up to actually hurt the people, and primarily the Israelites. Now, Sirach 12 and 10 again, it says, never trust thine enemy. So whatever this man throws at you, do not trust him, because he's our number one enemy. And like I said, we got it in Genesis, the 27th chapter. We've seen how this man is our enemy. We're mortal enemies. Like brothers always go into it, the meat and the potatoes. This is the good guy and the bad guy of the story. Esau and Jacob. Esau being the bad, Jacob being the good. Now we see this hatred. It goes back to the beginning. The days of the last part of Genesis 27:41. The days of mourning of my father at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. And why? Because he was Yaiquabbed out of his blessing. But it was all set up by the Heavenly Father. Now Esau has that hatred, and he thinks he can get this blessing back if he eradicates Jake. So we see there's no question of why these things are produced. GMs, as they said in the thing. Why the juice is produced. Why the charagma is about to be implemented. Because Esau has an agenda. And like we read here, Sirach 12 and 10, again, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself, so he's offering you these things, and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. And we see it. That rust goes back to the beginning. It's still there. These are the same people. These are the descendants. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. And this is what he wants to do. He wants to stand up in our place. He wants our blessing. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. And see, like I said, we have to remember these things that he offers. Don't trust him, because the studies are out. And even though, like I said, he was tarred and feathered, he was ostracized, and studies like this are put in the back burner. Nobody remembers these things, because he has the money to put them and sweep them under the rug. But see, we see things like this, and we know not to trust this man. And even though these things are out here, like I said before, through the grace and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we are still here to fulfill a purpose, and we are only alive because of that purpose. This is Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity, and woe means destruction. And who has the power to devise this iniquity? The wicked that have been given this control. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And we read it. They have the power to devise this iniquity. They work this evil upon their beds. You know, they devise these things. They're cunning. They're the devil. You know, they're the physical devil, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan in the flesh. It says woe unto them though, because ultimately they're going to be taken out of power. But see, they have the power to practice these evil works, and not, you know, hey, you might be able to take up a case against them, you know, according to their judicial system. But do you think you're gonna win? Well, if you watch that little report, you know, it goes into people who are trying to take cases against them. But hey, that's small change compared to what type of money these elites are working with. They've been given this control. You can't take the power away from somebody who's been given control by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But see, as we read here, hey, they've been given this control, but see what they do with it? This is why they have to go. You know, because of this type of evil. Proverbs 4:16, it says, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And this is why they do these things. And you ask yourself, how could they create these things? How can you have, you know, a pharmaceutical industry that's, you know, that creates so-called medicine based off petrochemicals? You know, how do they push the juice? How do they push Karagma? How do they push these GMs? Because first and foremost, it's been given, that this power is given unto them, and they can't sleep. They are the wicked. This is the wicked of the Bible. Once again, Proverbs 4:16, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So it's in the very fabric of their being to do these type of things. You know, to be evil, to promote wickedness, you know, because they are the wicked. Psalm 64:6, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Esau, what does it say? Wiser than Daniel. You know, they have the money, they have the resources to research these things and see exactly what they do. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them of the heart is deep. You know, hey, they're thinking, you know, years ahead. They have an agenda, you know, and this is why they put everything in place. You read the Georgia Guidestones, population control, you know, whole world domination. This is the thoughts of the wicked, you know. And see, it goes into prophecy that we would be eating these things, you know, the GMs, and still be able to live. Ezekiel 4:13, and the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. And this is what's happening to this very day. The things that we're given are defiled. You know, you try and eat the best that you can, but even the so-called organic and so-called non-GMO are overpriced, and you don't even know if they really are what they say they are. Like Ecclesiasticus said, Sirach, you know, never trust thine enemy. This is his kingdom. So who knows? You know, this is why this man has to be taken out of power. One more time, Ezekiel 4:13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. But like I said, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, through his power and his grace, we're still able to live. Well, what does it say there? I believe there's a scripture, you know, they shall drink poison and live. Hey, that's literally what we are consuming on a daily basis. Poison. Because Esau Edom is in control. I'm going to get this last precept. This is Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Lord, you know, he's not going to have too much longer of this. You know, we read it. We read the effects of what this happens generation upon generation. You know, depleted immune system, organ failure, lower lifespan. But what does it say? Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Lord is literally going to speed up this man's time. He's going to shorten his time in rulership. And then the nation of Israel is going to be set up, you know. But see, like I said, I just wanted to go into that point and show that point. This is another reason why we have to get up out of here. You know, Micah 2:10, it's polluted because Esau Edom is in control. And you see the things that he's pushing out because it's in his power. But what do those things do to the population? You know, they're hurting, they're killing the population. So this man has to be taken out of power. Lord's will, it's happening sooner. We see prophecy speaking. You know, we see that this man is almost out of power. We see his grip on things or being taken from him. You know, even this itself, you know, his own tongue shall fall upon him. He's being outed. Things like this show us why he's the devil and show us that, hey, he doesn't have too much longer to rule, you know. But yeah, Lord's will, this is edifying. Like I said, this is from Shut Up and Eat Your GMOs from the Corbett Report. It was on this site, this page, True Spreader on Odyssey. If, you know, brothers want to check that out. But, you know, just a little insight of you know, what the devil does, how he hurts the people, primarily the Israelites, you know, and why he has to be taken out of power. You know, like I said, Lord's will, this was edifying. Once again, Kol Haloim Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and Abba Baba.